I'm David Turner, and I'm teaching this class called Web Page Programming. It's CSE 322, or Web Page Programming. I'm teaching this in fall 2011. I'm teaching this in a web-based format, and I will provide some videos to help the students along with the assignments. So this is the first video, or the first video I'm making. I may insert another video before this, but this is the video. The purpose of this video is to go over this Subversion assignment. I'm going to carry out the assignment so that you see how to do what I'm asking there. And by the way, this course web page here, this is like the home page of the course instructions. I'm in the process of working on this, so this is going to look differently. But this will in fact be the first assignment, Subversion assignment. I'm going to click on that. And so this here, you'll be submitting all of your work to me in this course by committing it or writing it into a Subversion repository. And that's one of the other assignments. Of course, you need to study Subversion. I'm not going to go into that in this video. You can read about that here, and of course follow these links. So what I'm going to do here is assume that you've become familiar with Subversion, that you've done some research there based on my suggestions, and I'm just going to show you what I expect you to do at this point, which is to start experimenting with your Subversion repository. Actually, everybody in the course will have their own Subversion repository, and only you and I will have access to that repository. So you'll be writing things into the repository. I'll be reading them from the repository and evaluating your work that way. I may also write something into the repository, your repository as well, for one purpose or another. So that's also possible. It's a system that's Subversion is part of what's called a class of programs called version control systems or revision control systems. It's something that software developers use to share source code with team members and to maintain a record of changes to a code base. So it's good. It's very useful and practical knowledge to have. I think most professional programmers use a version control system similar to Subversion, if not Subversion itself. It's a very popular system. So anyway, this here is the URL where you will where Subversion clients will access to get to your repository. And let's see, I will have sent you a username and a password, so that should be in one of the emails that I sent you. If you can't find that, then you need to contact me, send me an email, tell me that you need a username and password. Make sure you tell me who you are in that email as well. And so let's see, what I want you to do is, and I'm doing this, I will add a video to this section. I'm doing that right now. I want to create a repository called test, and we're going to put some text file in there. The file will be readme.txt. Then we'll perform some experiments with a text editor where we modify the contents of readme.txt and try to write those contents into the repository, verify that they've been written in there. So this is just practice, making sure that we understand how to do things. So now I recommend that you use the name CSE 322 as the name of your folder that will store your working copy of the repository. And I'll refer to that folder as CSE 322 throughout the course. So let's see, let's just get started. I'm going to create a new folder and give it that name. Now, I'm using Windows here. You don't have to use Windows. You can use Linux or Macintosh. That's acceptable. But in any case, you need to have a Subversion client installed. On Windows, Tortoise Svn is the client that I'll be using, and I've already installed that. So if I double click on that folder, I get this empty folder that we just created. I'm going to right click, and you'll see integrated into this interface, which is called Windows Explorer. It's a Windows Explorer, gives you a graphical view of your file system. And when you install Tortoise Svn, it integrates itself into Windows Explorer. As you can see here, there's two choices in the menu of choices. One is to check out a repository. The other is an item that expands out into a larger number of items. So you should be aware of these two choices. We need to first check out the repository. This is some other repository that we're not going to use. It saves, Tortoise Svn saves the URLs of repositories that you've entered into it in the past. So the URL that we're going to use is right here, and this is of course your SVN username. You need to set that, you know, as I provide to you through that email. So I'm going to go back to here. Did I copy that? No, I did not. Need to copy that. Yeah, I'm going to paste it in here. My username is Turner. You'll need to enter in your own username, the one I give you actually. And the checkout directory is, you know, the folder CSE 322 on the desktop. That's what I recommend that you do. That's how I'm going to do it. It'll be easier for you to follow along with my videos and my assistance in emails and so on if you follow along in this way. But of course you're free to do it and put the folder in some other location. That's also fine. So let's what I'm going to do here is, this repository is actually empty, so I'm going to check it out. It's going to hit OK. This is we're using HTTPS, and the reason for that is that we're sending a username and password over the internet, so we want to make sure that that's encrypted. But I don't have I didn't install in my web server. The Subversion, by the way, I have it installed. I have it operating within Apache web server. I don't have a commercially signed certificate that's used in making HTTPS connections. So we're going to need to accept my self-signed certificate, and I'll accept permanently on that. Now I need to type in my username and password, the one that I gave you. And I'm going to save the authentication. That's going to write the password into my file system locally here, so I won't need to enter it in each time. It presents a small security problem to do that, but I think it's in our case it's worth the risk at this point. But for other projects that may have more serious security concerns, you might not actually want to do that. Okay, let's see. So we checked it out. Look at this, revision 0. And that's because there's nothing in there. So we're at revision 0. Remember, when we write into the repository, we're writing in versions of our project, and those versions are sequentially numbered. So there's actually nothing in there right now, so it's revision 0. When we commit something, we'll be at revision 1. So here's the folder. Now take a look at this. This is Subversion, the Subversion client. When we checked out the empty repository, created this folder called .svn. That's a control. It's a folder that contains these information. So every folder in your working copy of the repository will have a .svn folder in it. That's true for Linux and Macintosh as well. And on Linux and Macintosh, you should be careful that you won't see this unless you because the name of the folder starts with a dot. That means it's not displayed by default in listings, like when you use the ls command, for instance. So it's a hidden folder, so you need to use a special command to reveal it. And actually, I have turned on that. If I had turned that off, let's see, folder and search options. Take a look at this. If I go into view, see this choice, hidden files and folders, show hidden files, folders, and drives. You see I have that set on. Now let's take that off. Now if I apply that, you'll see the .svn folder is no longer visible. And but I find that inconvenient. I like to see things which are designated as hidden. So I usually go in here and I turn that off. Another recommendation I have for you, which I always do, is to turn this off. Hide extensions for known file types. This is set on by default. So I usually go in and take that off because I like to see the file extension. Like if we create a file index.html, I like to see the name index.html. And if this is set, then the .html part of the file name, the extension, will not be displayed in Windows Explorer. So I like to take that off because I like to see that extension, and sometimes the extension is critical and important. If you want to change the extension of a file, it's hard to do if that extension maps to a known file type. So that can get you into problems. So when I take this off, by the way, I usually apply this setting to all folders. I click on that. This will recurse or propagate through all the folders in my system when I do that. All right, now the next step is to create this create a folder called test. So let's go back there and do that. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it test. And you'll see this little symbol right there. Windows Explorer doesn't normally display this, but we've installed Tortoise Svn. It integrates itself in, and it is now displaying this icon to show that it doesn't know what to do with this folder. We're inside a Subversion working copy, and there's a folder in there, and it's not designated as being in the repository or being out of the repository. So we'll fix that in a minute. I'm going to descend into that folder, go back to the instructions, and I'm asking you to make a file called readme.txt. Use a text editor for that. I'm going to go back in there. I'm going to create a new text document here. I don't want open document text. This is not a plain character file. It's a binary file. It doesn't have only character data in it. It's like Microsoft Word. It's got character data and it's got non-character data mixed together. So we want a pure a file with only character data in it, otherwise called a text file. And rich text document, that's not it. Here it is, text document. So pick that. And it's giving me the extension. And I already had that extension in there, so I'll just take one of those out. And let's go ahead and edit that. This is Notepad. You can also edit that with WordPad, which is what I normally do. WordPad. It's a little bit easier. Actually, it doesn't really matter. So let's go back and I think add some text to it. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to put hello, of course. So everybody puts that in there. Save it. And now we're going to write the test folder and the contents into the repository. Now before I do that, I want to show you that we can actually browse. This is a URL, and Subversion, the Subversion client that's integrated in with Windows Explorer, actually will interact with that URL, and we can use our browser to interact with the URL as well. So let's take a look at what it looks like from our browser. Now we'll need to enter in our password again. I would accept this. See, the security certificate's not trusted, it's not signed by a trusted authority, it's self-signed by me, so I'm going to just accept that. The username is the username I give you, and the password is the password that I give you as well. Oh, look at that. Save password for this? I'm going to do that. So we're at revision 0. Look up here. It's just a root folder. Let's go back to here. Now I'm going to commit the work into the repository. What I do, I would recommend making a habit of going up to the root folder, right click in there, and commit, SVN commit. And you'll see there's a message there, which is, so you should put in a comment and add it readme.txt with hello text, something. And here it gives a list of items that could be written in the repository. Now they're not currently, see the status is it's non-version, so what we can do is select those. And those are now selected to be written into the repository. Let's hit OK. And there it is. We have completed. We've written those in there. So that's done. And notice the icon is now different. Now there's a check mark in there because the working copy is synchronized now with the repository. Subversion knows that this folder is designated, or that we intend it to be part of the repository. So it's now a known thing. All right. And let's go back to the website and let's refresh this. There it is. Now we have a folder called test. Then you can see readme.txt in there. We can even click on that, see the URL up there, and we can see the hello that we wrote into it. Of course, now the purpose of writing in the repository is not to navigate there with a browser, but I recommend that you'll use the browser to verify that the material that you're trying to submit to me is in fact committed into the repository. So it's common that the students think they have written all of their changes and new files into the repository where in fact they haven't. So I recommend going to the URL of your repository, verifying that what you think is there is in fact there. So coming back to where we are here, and lots of other ways to do this. I talk about Eclipse. Eclipse, you can integrate Subversion inside of Eclipse and so on. And I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong place. Now what I want to do is show a little bit about how Subversion works. So I'm going to ask you to do some experiments. So I want a separate working copy of the repository called CSE 322 alt. So let's go ahead and create a new folder for that. Now this should not be inside of any other working copy, so you wouldn't want to create this inside of that one. So what we're going to do here is going to pretend as if someone else is working on the project and they're checking out the code base, and they're going to make a change to it, and they're going to write it in the repository. We're going to retrieve the repository, the changes, synchronize our working copy with a new state of the repository, and see how changes propagate from one developer to another. That's what we're going to be checking here. So this is now empty. It's not even marked. See, this is not a Subversion repository. See over here, this quarters, this is a Subversion repository. These other folders are not. They do not have .svn control folders in them. They're not working copies, but these two are in fact working copies. Let's make this a working copy. Let's make it a copy of the same repository that we have here. So I'm going to do Tortoise Svn Checkout. I can do it here. I can right click on this folder and do checkout, or I can descend into the folder and do checkout there as well. This is how we did it last time. There's typically more than one way to do things, and here it is, Svn Checkout. And look, it cached. These are some repositories that I've interacted with recently, but you can see it's cached the new one, and let's just leave it set like that. And you'll see now the checkout, this is the URL of the repository, which is the same, but the checkout directory now has an alt after it. And let's just go ahead and accept that. And it shows you, that it added this folder test, and it added this file readme.txt. So let's look in there. Here it is. Open up the readme.txt. There's the hello. And now if we go back to the other folder, this is CSE 322. It's the same thing. Now let's suppose the new person decides to change this, and they go hello, hello Sally. How are you? Like that. Yeah, I'm going to save that. Now take a look. There's a little red exclamation point there. It means that this file has been modified since it was last synchronized with the repository. So that means there are uncommitted changes there. Alright, so here we have the file that's been changed. And let me just show that to you in a different way. I don't need that. And here's the file which is unchanged. And what we'll do is we're going to commit our changes. This is in the alt folder. This is in the non-alt folder. I'm going to commit the changes. Svn commit. And let's write a comment. Greeted Sally. See, this is the change it's going to commit. It's designated as a file that's been modified. I'm going to write that in there. And as you can see, it succeeded. And by the way, this doesn't always succeed. You have to read this carefully, make sure that there hasn't been any problems. And so now this is green, and once I double click on that, see, hello Sally, how are you? But if we look at our other one, it's not automatically synchronized. Right? It's just, now it sets the old version, but it doesn't know that the repository has been changed. We go up here and look at the repository. If I go into test and then readme, look, it's been modified. So here we're accessing the repository directly. Here we're accessing our local working copy, which is out of date. So I'm going to make this up to date. How do I do that? I'm going to go up to the root folder here, which I recommend always doing, because if you do an update, descend it down into your project, you're going to just update, a branch of your repository, not the entire thing, and you don't always remember or know that that's what's happening. So I recommend, as a general policy, always updating and committing from the root. And so let's go in here. I'm going to right click, and I see Svn update. Let's select that. This is update. It gives the name of the file. Now it's at revision 2. See, it changes to the repository are labeled with revision numbers. So now if I look in there, there's the change. Now let's do this. Let's let's add a line here. How are you? Let's do this. Let's say I am fine. We're writing a letter. I want to save that. And let's go ahead and save that. I am fine. And that's in here. We've modified that. Now let's go over to our, say our other developer is going to modify that, and they're going to add a line down here as well. They're going to say, I feel terrible, something like that. That's the opposite. Okay, so we're going to conflict there. We're trying to say two different things in there. Now, these two revisions that we just did to this file cannot be automatically merged, because if we were to merge these two separate visions, we have to, Subversion would need to know whether I am fine comes before or after I feel terrible. So this particular set of changes will result in a problem. Now, it's kind of a race condition here. Whoever gets there first is going to, well, not race condition, it's a race. Whoever gets there first is going to win the race, and the other one will have a problem. So let's go ahead and let's commit on our main folder here. Now let's commit on the other one, the alt folder. Let's go ahead and write that in there. Notice we haven't made any changes into the repository yet. Now we're going to do that right now. We're going to, once again, I'm not going to commit here, although that would work. I'm just showing you, that we're going to carry out the policy of always committing from the root, and that's a way to avoid errors. Although committing from the subfolder in that case would have been okay. So I'm going to commit, and here's a message added. I feel terrible. And that's the file. We're going to go ahead and commit that. This is synchronized. Look at the repo. I feel terrible. And over here, I'm going to go up to the root. Now watch this. This is going to, Subversion will try to merge, but it will be inconsistent. It'll be unmergeable. So I'm going to do Svn update. And there it is. I don't know if you heard that, but it made a noise. And it's in red. It says it's conflicted readme.txt. It's in a conflicted state. Actually, I didn't show you this. They have a log here, and it shows you the history of commits. So our first commit was here, and you can see the comment that we wrote in there. See, and we can basically we can retrieve any version, any committed version is retrievable. So it's kind of like an infinite undo actually. So we don't need that. So this is very important. We need to resolve this conflict here. So when we did update, what happened was when we hit OK on there, look at this special mark. So there's an exclamation point. It's a warning. And look at this. It added 3 files. It added readme.txt.mine, readme.txt.revision2, readme.txt revision 3. Let's take a look at those. Those are all, here's the original file here, or the readme.txt file. It shows you where it has the problem. So, hello Sally, how are you is okay. The problem is, what we have, mine, is I am fine. And what they have, which follows this line here, is I feel terrible. And this dot R3, that means this is from revision 3. .m mine, this is the version that's in my local working copy. It's not even committed, so that's written like that. So that's what that one looks like. Now take a look at this readme.txt.mine. This is the file that was there prior to doing an update. See? Hello Sally, how are you? I am fine. This readme.txt.revision2, that's what the file looked like before the other guy committed the conflicting change. And oh, well, it's either that or it's the revision. It's the version of this file that we modified. So readme.txt, our modifications to this were based on this revision. That's what it is, actually. And so let's take a look at that. So it's just this line without anything. This is the revision, revision 2. This is the version of the file that our changes were written against. And this is the current, what's currently in the repository. So we have a choice here. And there's many different ways of doing this. And we can manually resolve this, going in here and editing it. Or we can do it automatically. We can do Tortoise Svn. We could do something, I think, resolved here. We do resolved. And no, that's not it. Oh, sync. Well, anyway, I'm going to show you that technique. What I'm going to show you is how to manually resolve this. So the other developer said he feels terrible, and I think it should fine. I feel terrible and fine, you know, whatever. So I'm just going to show you how you might resolve that in the source code. And so let's go ahead and save that. So we're manually updating that. And then I'm going to right click on this. I don't remember exactly how to do this, but I do this all the time, by the way, and there's so many different ways of doing it. Doing it at this point is not where I normally do that. But here I'm going to, let's go into Tortoise Svn, and I think what we'll do is select resolved. And here I want to right click on that, and this is where I should have done this before. So this is like my resolver system or component. So I can resolve using theirs. What that does is it copies readme.txt.r3 onto readme.txt. It synchronizes txt.r3 with readme.txt. It makes it equal to txt.r3. Resolve the conflict using mine. That replaces readme.txt with readme.txt.mine and prepares to write that into the repository, causing the other person's changes to be lost. This resolve conflict using theirs means discard my changes and use their changes. But what we did, in fact, was we manually resolved it. We went in there and manually resolved. So what we do is we're going to say, or we're going to mark it as resolved. So I'm going to choose that. Are you sure you want to mark the conflicted file as resolved? You're going to put yes on that. And so it's still labeled with a, oh no, now it says the changes are uncommitted. And once again, we've edited it. We didn't commit anything yet. I'm going to go up here just to prove that to you. You can see that it's still I feel terrible. We haven't committed those changes. But I went up to the root here, and I'm going to commit. And I'm just going to put a comment in there, and you're going to write in the changes. That's revision 4. Let's go back here. Let's refresh. There it is. I feel terrible and fine. And over here, this is still the old version, right? This is the one I feel terrible. Let's go ahead and synchronize. Let's update. And look, updated readme.txt. It modified it. I'll show the log on that. See? Resolve conflicts. This is the one added I feel terrible. That's the one we put in there before. So now you can see that if we go in there, my my collaborator, the other developer, has resolved the conflict that involved a change that I committed. So now that's done. So that's just a whole process of showing how how conflicts can occur and how they're resolved. So try to trigger a conflict like this and so on. But you know, not all separate changes need to lead to a conflict. I'm going to give you just a quick example, and then that'll be it for today. I'm going to go in here. If I put in 1, 2, 3, 4 on this one, on 322, and in the alt version, I'm going to put 5, 6, 7, 8 on the bottom. This can be merged, because this can be merged unambiguously. The merger of these two changes would have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top, and 5, 6, 7, 8 on the bottom. So this can be merged without a problem. So let's show how that's done. Doesn't matter which side we start from. Let's start from alt again. I'm going to commit, and you know, added 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever it is I did there. And let's look at the repository. There it is. Let's go back to here. And once again, you know, we're going to merge this. And I'm going to go up to the parent. I'm going to be disciplined about my policy. I'm going to go up to the root folder rather, and I'm going to perform an update. Look at that. It didn't say updated here, it said merged. So it tells you right here in its report that there was some merging activity going on. So some changes to the repository had to be blended in or merged in with changes that I made to the working copy. So let's look in there. Look at that. It merged it correctly, see? But that's a merge that happened on my local working copy. In the repository, look at this, it's still the same thing. So we need to commit those changes. We need to commit that merger. I'm going to go up here and commit. Oh, didn't put a comment in there. And we come up to here. Now we see that that's of course in the repository. One last thing we need to do: the other developer still has the non-merged version, so we're going to come up here and do an update. So here we didn't have any conflicts. Just show you how automatic merging is done with character files, and this automatic merging cannot occur with files that have binary formats. So JPEGs, BMP files, audio files, Word files, they cannot be automatically merged. And Subversion has a way of detecting files that are in binary format. I think it's by the extension, I think, but I'm not, actually don't know for sure. So I think they look at the extension. If it's .doc, they will treat it as a binary object. But actually, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do an experiment there. I'm going to add, let me go into the other one. I'm going inside the test folder. Let's add a text document, and let's give it an extension, which is the extension of a binary object. Like what would that be? ODT, something like that. Like I'm going to say Sam dot. Is it ODT? This is an open office. If you change the file name extension, it might become unusable. See, I want that. Is it ODT? How do I create an open office document? Watch this. This is, I'm going to call this one text. And let's create an open office document. And let's go ahead and do this new open document text. Yeah, it's ODT. I got the extension right. That's text, and this is non-text. Alright, so we open this up, and we're going to put 1, 2, 3 in there. Save it. Alright, that's now an open office document. But this one here, this I'm going to open with, well, I can use WordPad, right? Or just to play it really safe, let's use Notepad. I don't want to always use this type. I don't want to always use Notepad for that. I'll take that off. So let's go ahead and open that up in WordPad. And this says, you know, something like I am text only, or I am character data. Character data only. This is an experiment. I don't know how this is going to work, right? So they both end with ODT. Oh, I'm going to show that to you. Watch this. So this is Notepad. If I open text.odt in Notepad, it's just I am character data. But if I try to open non-text ODT, look at what I get. It's garbage. This is a binary. This is not character data. It's something else. It's got its own, you know, binary data format in it, right? So we know. Let's see what Subversion does. I don't know. I've never done this before. So let's go ahead and try to do a commit. And these are non-versions, so we're going to put those in there. And then let's hit OK. And let's update. If we go into test, there's our non-text ODT. That looks good. This is our text.odt. Oops. Look, I double-clicked on that. Look, you know, it's getting confused because it's not in the format that it should be in, right? So just to open that up. So if you can open in Notepad, it's not a problem. So let's do this. Let's create some conflicting changes. Okay. So let's go ahead and open this up in the text editor. I am character data only. So we're going to put, just like we did before, we're going to put AAA here. And this one here, look at this, we're going to put AAA on the next line. And over here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to put BBB. So this is a conflicting. This cannot be merged automatically. And this other file, text dot. Whoop. What am I doing there? This is Notepad, and I want to open up text.odt in Notepad. And this is BBB. So these are conflicting changes. Let's go ahead and commit from Alt. So added conflicting changes. Write that in there. And now let's go over to here. And let's do an update. They're both labeled as conflicting. Now we go in there. I just do that to open up Notepad. Now let's take a look at the text.odt. And there it is. That's what we expected. You know, we're going to manually modify this. I'm character data only, BBB. The other one is I am character data only, AAA. So we'll say we'll do it BBB and AAA, you know, whatever. So that's just an example of how to resolve a possible conflict. So we're going to go ahead and save that. And then I'm going to label that. Let's go into resolve ODT. Alright, I'm going to label that as resolved. Do you want to mark the conflicted files as resolved? And when we hit yes, what the Subversion program does is it deletes these other 3 temporary files. Watch. See? Because we said we're done, so it took away those temporary files for us. Now, This one here is, now this is going to be tricky, so I'm going to go in there and open up Open Office Writer right here directly, an empty one. And I'm going to, this is, oh look, there's no .mine in here. What happened to the .mine? They don't have .mine. See, this is, why did we lose, what happened to the .mine? I don't know what's going on there. So this is like the .mine. So there is no, it didn't try to merge, right? So it left the file alone like this, and it didn't try to in fact merge because it couldn't. The file it was file extension. No, it was not file extension because it was able to merge this. We got our .mine in here. We were able to manually go in there and resolve this one here. This is our original file, like the .mine, and so it didn't do that annotated. So it's not based on file extension. It's based on looking into the file and analyzing whether it's character based or not. So I don't know what algorithm it uses to do that, but that's what happened. And let's look at the other ones. This is the revision 7, which is 1, 2, 3. That was the earlier revision. That makes sense. And revision 8, that's the one that the other guy, the alt folder, has, the AAA. So now we cannot well, if we want to manually modify that, we would do this. We would take these two files, revision 7, not revision 7, but our current file. I didn't do that right. Let's take the current file, and this is not the current file. Where are we? I can't figure out what's going on here. This is, oh, there's 3 of these open. Revision 7, revision 8, and non-text ODT. That's the current one. So I don't want this one. I just want these two. This is the new one that I want, and this is the one that's, sorry, this is the one that's in the repo AAA. In fact, let's test that. Here's the non-text.odt. See that? That's in the repo, the AAA one. And see, this will also, look at that. It knows the difference between those. So let's go ahead, and we'll have to manually do this like this. Oops, not to the revision 8. I'm sorry. I want to do it over here. I want to do it over here. I want to do it to that one. And I want to discard those changes. And you can see here we've made those changes. We've manually edited this. So if these were image files, we would do the same thing. We look at what one artist did, what the other artist did. Go in here and resolve these. Mark them as resolved. We did it manually. We could have done, this is the easy way to do it, of course, is pick one of those, but we did that. And that's done. Let's go ahead and commit that. And I want to fix the conflicts. So it does not use file extensions. That's not the algorithm that it uses to distinguish between those two file types. I'm going to try that again. Text ODT. Oh, not that one, sorry. This one. Non-text ODT. There it is. That's our manual merger. So that's basically sums it up. And you should be carrying out those type of experiments, doing the reading, and trying to understand what's going on. So that we'll be using that throughout the rest of the course.